Hello, Ray here. Today we've got the XZ2 Premium here, finally. Actually, I've been using it for almost 2 weeks' time, and that dual camera module is simply out of this world. It's time to give you guys an in-depth full review. As always, let's kick things start from the design. To be honest, the iPhone X's been my daily driver for almost a year, and just by looking at the XZ2 Premium, I can feel that high level of technology and futuristic design logic. Well, I mean, those bezels in 2018, with a weight of 236 grams and a massive 16:9 display. It is by far the heaviest and the widest phone I've held in 2018. Still, I do appreciate Sony's symmetrical, elegant, simplistic and kind of boxy design. Yep, kind of, because the back's no longer a flat piece of glass, a curved 3D one instead. Just think about it. Which phone on the planet has all those cameras, LED flash, laser autofocus sensor, as well as the fingerprint reader aligned on a single horizontal level? We should give Sony a big applause for that amazing internal design, which allows them to achieve this kind of organized and simplistic outlook. Speaking of the back of the phone, it is indeed glossy, shiny and flashy, but without any sort of translucent gradient color or refraction effect. Just a simple silvery grey or black mirror design. The way it reflects light is classy and elegant. With the mentioned weight and size, as well as the simplistic design, Sony's made it, in my opinion. It might be a little bit too bulky, but for those who are gonna use their phones with two hands anyway, and don't mind those bezels at all, it is indeed a gorgeous and professional looking phone. Alright, the hardware. First of all, the fingerprint sensor is now on the back, covered with a glass surface. Scratch resistance shouldn't be a problem. I did enjoy using the side-mounted fingerprint sensor throughout the years, but finally they can activate the back-mounted fingerprint reader in the US. That is a huge bonus for those who are in America. Moving on to the sides, on the right we've got a two-step camera shutter button as always, a power button and the volume rockers as well. I know Sony's got a distinct vision when it comes to balanced and symmetrical design, but putting the power and volume buttons on the same side simply makes one-hand screen capturing impossible. It's not a one-handed phone anyway. The XZ2 Premium also supports dual SIM or microSD expansion, either one. Qi wireless charging, IP68 water and dust resistant, dual front firing speakers, and of course Sony's latest dynamic vibrating system. We've covered that extensively on the XZ2 review. Basically it scans the audio tracks and gives a corresponding vibration when it's got a strong and distinct boom or beat. Unfortunately, after 3 months of time, third-party apps and games support for that dynamic vibrating system's very limited still. Newer games like Asphalt 9, Mobile Combat and Need for Speed No Limits are all unsupported. The lack of a 3.5mm headphone jack is also a disappointment. But Sony's implemented a bunch of exclusive technologies for high-res music listening experience on this phone. We'll come back to this in a bit. Time to test out the XZ2 Premium's performance in real life. Before that, it runs Android 8.0 out of the box. Unfortunately, the same old Xperia launcher's still there, with next to none Android 8.0 gesture control implementation. I did liked Sony's close-to-stock Android interface back in the days, but hey, you've got to update it to match the newer version of Android. Fortunately, the long press feature is here, as well as multi-window. Pretty much it. Other than Sony's in-house PlayStation app, there's not much of anything else that I can talk about regarding system features. Is it good or bad? It depends. You may say it is a dull, uninspiring, limited and average user-oriented system, but at the same time, Android system upgrading would be a piece of cake for Sony. Due to the light and nothing special software, Sony's been able to upgrade their phones ahead of anyone else for the past couple of years. Daily navigation around the system is also buttery smooth due to the same reason. So those are my subjective opinion towards the XZ2 Premium's performance. Here we've come to the standardized apps opening speed test, by launching the same list of apps, games and commands, we'll be able to compare different phones' performance in a controlled environment. With a Snapdragon 845 processor, 6GB of RAM, and the 1080p based system, the XZ2 Premium finished the speed test faster than almost every Android flagship. HTC and Sony's got the best performance optimization up to this point. On the Android side, of course. Carry on to the second round of the test, with 6GB of RAM, finally in 2018 on a Sony flagship. Multitasking performance impressive. Not only is all the apps running on the background as expected, but also ready to be switched like at any time, every millisecond. It's just silky smooth, comparable result to the HTC U12 Plus and the XZ2 as well. Simply one of the smoothest Android phones out there. Speaking of smooth, gaming experience on this phone's really smooth as well. Well, the Adreno 630 GPU, running games at 1080p is simply OP. Even the latest Asphalt 9 is capable of killing the game at max graphics without a single frame drop. Right, let's come back to multimedia experience. As I've said, we'll come back to this in a bit earlier on. Coming first is LDAC, high-res 990 kbps Bluetooth transmission codec. It's no longer Sony's exclusive black magic since Android 8.0, but using a Sony speaker and a Sony phone, it's more like an attitude. I've got a Sony camera as well. Backed with Sony's exclusive DSE HX upscaling technology, which upgrades MP3 or compressed lossy audio files to close to lossless high-res quality, as well as the built-in equalizer, Clear Audio Plus, and a series of sound effects. Also S4's front surround for better loudspeaker music listening experience. The XZ2 Premium is capable of delivering high-res audio listening experience through both wired and wireless mediums. The dual front-firing speakers in the meantime is like the larger-than-usual massive body has given Sony more room to put a better pair of loudspeakers. Mids and bass are a little bit richer and warmer than those on the XZ2. It could crack at the loudest volume, but just a step or two backwards will fix the issue. And this is it, the dynamic vibration system. Just listen to how strong it can get. Another major selling point of the premium product line is the 4K Ultra HD HDR display. Even though the hardware is more than capable of running the interface at 4K 24/7, but the battery isn't. So after all, the interface is still 1080p based. I'd say it's noticeable on such a huge display. Text is not as crispy as I want it to be, but hey, it's really smooth and consistent. Once you've opened YouTube, Netflix, Gallery or something like that, you will be able to consume media at full 4K resolution, with HDR10 support. Combined with Sony's high-end television technologies like Triluminous and X-Reality, even though it's an IPS display, it's an extra sharp, crystal clear, bright, vivid, accurate and beautiful one. Definitely the best IPS display out there. The only complaint I've got is that LCD can never display pure inky deep black. Still, the XZ2 Premium is the world's first smartphone which is capable of recording 4K HDR video and play it back locally, directly on its 4K HDR display. Speaking of 4K HDR, due to this particular review is produced in standard dynamic range, or maybe your device isn't capable of showing HDR content at all, there are two separate 4K HDR footage filmed with the XZ2 Premium, one during daytime and one at night, both at scenes with high bright and dark contrast, while the following sample videos are all filmed in SDR. Before saying anything else, I'd just keep silent and let you guys experience how ridiculously insane this dual camera module is. I mean, it's a combination of wide dynamic range, accurate white balance, vivid color, bright yet next to none digital noise, top-notch 5-axis electronic stabilization, aka steady shot, no matter if it's in daytime or at night, even in extremely dark environment. Here are some photos as well. The improvement in the dynamic range is really insane. Better than all those old Sony phones. It's now top notch. The colors are also vibrant enough to make you and your Instagram followers to like it. I mean, phones nowadays can capture really great daylight photos. Not much at night, right? However, the XZ2 Premium is definitely an exception. With the extra black and white lens to let all those light in, the images are like really bright, super bright, yet next to none digital noise. Those even more beautiful than in reality colors are also only on Sony phones. I mean, only on this Xperia XZ2 Premium. It's insane. Put the iPhone X's images next to it. That's a joke, right? Brightness not there, contrast not there, colors not there, digital noise everywhere. Video recording's just the same, bright even at night, vibrant, colorful, dynamic. With the world's brightest video recording experience, probably the crispiest and smoothest as well. I do expect you guys to use that camera a lot during the day. Battery life could then be a problem. Fortunate enough, the larger than usual body allows Sony to put a reasonably sized battery, which is a 3450 mAh one, into the XZ2 Premium. Based on the standardized battery life test, which I've watched 10 hours of YouTube videos with half brightness, checked my Facebook for another hour, and played Clash Royale for another hour. I managed to drain 43% of the battery. Not bad at all, but far from the best battery life on the list. Based on this result, we can say the XZ2 Premium offers near 7 hours of continuous multimedia consumption time, which should be enough for most people. With Quick Charge 3.0 and Qi wireless charging support, battery life isn't that great, but reasonable. All in all, the XZ2 Premium looks and feels nothing alike to any other flagship phones from 2018. It's heavy and bulky, yet elegant and classy. If you don't mind that extra weight and width, its simplistic and symmetrical design would simply spoil you and your hands. The XZ2 Premium also offers sleek and lag-free top-notch performance, great system upgrade support, the best camera for both photography and videography, in both daytime and nighttime, a massive 5.8 inches 16:9 4K HDR display, aka the perfect phone for Amazon Prime and Netflix watching, as well as gaming, a pair of decent stereo front-firing speakers, best-in-class wired and wireless music listening experience, and adequate battery life. It's kinda flawless, isn't it? Yep, if you can bear that bulky, chunky, massive glassy body. So that's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed watching this video. Like it if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. There are also 2 more videos here on the left for you guys to watch next. See you next time, hopefully real soon.